It all started by asking if they're the a-hole for bringing their sister-in-law's wallet to the restaurant when she conveniently always forgets it. So, I'm female 28, my sister-in-law Amy, who's 26, always comes to visit from out of town. She stays with us instead of a hotel, and always wants to go to expensive restaurants. She always conveniently forgets her wallet, or comes up with some excuse as to why she can't pay her share. She has implied that since I make much more money than her, I should be the one to pay. No, not my husband should pay, but me specifically. I do make a fair amount of money, but not so much that I can treat someone every time they come into town. Nonetheless, in the past, I have just paid the bill and asked her to pay me back. She never has. Now, she had made a reservation at an extremely expensive restaurant last night, and before we left, I made it clear that I wouldn't be paying her bill. Amy, I am laying down some boundaries. I want you to respect them. Amy, don't cross them. Amy, stop! Amy, stop it! This is where I might be the a-hole, and I'll admit I got this move straight from an episode of 2.5 Men. As we were leaving, her and my husband went to the car. I pretended I forgot something and went back inside. I found her wallet sitting right on top of her suitcase. I put it in my purse and we went to the restaurant. When we were done eating, I asked for separate bills. She said no, we need one bill because she forgot her wallet again. I reached in my purse and said, "This wallet?" She was extremely furious. She said that I should not have touched or grabbed her wallet. So I ask you, reader, am I the a-hole for taking her wallet and bringing it to the restaurant? OP, how can you not respect Amy's life choices of role-playing as a symbiote? Let her live her dream as to being your venom, leeching off your life essence. Honestly, your behavior towards Amy is very problematic. No, but seriously, what's great is that there's an edit from the OP here. Amy just called me. She saw this post and she yelled at me for bad-mouthing her on the internet. Honestly, I don't care. Amy, hopefully reading all these comments is a wake-up call for you. Now, in the case of someone serving a bit of classic street justice, online audience is very much on her side. Bigger support goes to this opinion. Not the a-hole, but you totally should have flipped the switch. Left your wallet at home. Only brought your license, so she had to cover the whole bill, then never taken her out to a restaurant again. Hit him with the 2-1 punch. Oh, I forgot my wallet because I accidentally grabbed this other one I found lying about. Is it yours? Oh, I thought it was my wallet. Oopsie. Oh, but don't worry, Amy. You get this one, and I'll pay you back. Yes, I agree. This is my favorite answer. But now, let us be as balanced and fair as we can be and see some other thoughts. And everyone sucks here argument. She shouldn't have kept pulling this move. You shouldn't keep going out to dinner with her if you know she never pays. Now, what do you think about that? Regardless of why the OP did it, they did kind of take someone's wallet without their permission. She also broadcasted this issue among everyone around them. That said, when no one else is piping up about this clear abuse of sibling and family connection, do you kinda blame her? And this is the overall logic towards people on the other side of the fence. Not so much that she is an a-hole, but just she did an a-hole thing towards another a-hole. So does it kinda balance it out, or is it just two wrongs not making a right? Also, yeah, turns out she still paid. Why, OP? What was the point of that spectacle if you still did your typical thing? Now, thankfully, the OP does give an update that is mostly some more context to the situation. A quick perusal through them, which reveal why the husband wasn't really stepping in. Unfortunately, it's a cultural thing for him to basically be financially abused by his family. Without getting into too much detail, he has always been expected to pay for nice things for the females in his family. He's always been kind of scammed out of large sums of money by his family. That's slowly been shut down over times, and we're working on shutting down this dinner and outings thing. He allows this because he feels bad that they don't have a lot of money. Yeah, it's sad, but that's how his family got along for a very long time. Being dishonest about anything and everything to get their hands on some extra money or extra financial help. I could write a book on some of the things I've seen them do over the years. It hasn't been easy to show these people how wrong this is. He has talked to Amy about being cheap, has had come to Jesus talks with her, and genuinely has always felt that each next time would be different. Right, so your husband's delusional, got it. We've been in therapy addressing this, and he's learned to set boundaries. This restaurant thing is a boundary that he hadn't yet set. It's hard to set all boundaries all at once when you actually had no clue what boundaries were, and have had no boundaries for years. Some more clarity, he does pay too. We are married. My money is his money. When I mentioned Amy specifically says I should pay, I meant more that she specifies since I make good money, we as a whole shouldn't be cheap. I never get this logic, because half the time people who make a lot of money or have a lot of money do so or succeed in doing so because they are cheap. So, is Amy banned from visiting? Well, fortunately, this post turned out to be a good thing. DH has always had it in his head that Amy is a good person and has her reasons for being sneaky and cheap, like I mentioned above. In his head, it's not her fault she is the way she is, it's the circumstances of their upbringing that cause her to make bad decisions. But seeing Amy's reply to my post and people's response to Amy has really changed his thinking. That's the first time Amy has outright admitted that she's purposely taking advantage. Reading some of the other comments has also been eye-opening for him. So, DH has told Amy that she's not welcome here. At least, not for a long while. Yes, that's right. Amy did personally reply in the comments, not just an aggressive phone call, but actually thought she could defend herself. Unfortunately and allegedly, she deleted everything rather quickly. But again, this is the internet. And nothing goes away forever. According to this user Dry Equivalent 9, they say, I won't repost the whole thing word for word since there's some detail that OP doesn't want known, but the gist of it is, Amy was complaining that OP would take her own sisters out to restaurants to treat them, that her brother is now cheap because he won't pay for her and her mother's expenses anymore. Also that, in their culture, the older sibling always pays. So why can't OP just treat her since he has so much money to waste? But from the Leech's mouth themselves, they typed this thinking they were genuinely in the right. Maybe I am wrong for always forgetting my wallet, but it's not fair that she always pays for her own sisters, but not for me. She would never take her sister's wallet and embarrass her at a restaurant trying to make her pay. Taking my wallet and sneaking it to the restaurant when she can afford to pay for things is so messed up. And the OP's reply to this alleged allegation? Wow. I can't. My sisters are in university, working their butts off to pay their own tuition. So yes, I treat them occasionally. They don't come to my house expecting me to pay for everything. How much money I earn is not anyone's damn business. How I spend my money is not anyone's damn business. My husband is cheap now because we have a mortgage to pay and a child to take care of. I also didn't have much money to my name at a time in my life, but I never mooched off of anyone or expected anyone to pay my way, not even my own parents. You figure that out on your own. Get the hell off my post and go complain to someone who cares. So yeah, a classic tale of someone thinking they can get away with everything, but ultimately a satisfying vengeance. I have to wonder if you know, or maybe yourself, have you ever done such a melodramatic revelation when calling someone out for their BS? Because man, I can only imagine how satisfying it was to see Amy's face when you showed the card, or wallet in this case, but I would be too scared to do it, you know? I just feel like there's so many things that could go wrong. Anyway, let's move on to some more stories. Now, I'm not sure if you know, but if you like any sort of fantasy villains, you will turn into that villain. Yep, that's science. It's proven by scientists, at least according to this mother. Am I the a-hole for letting my daughter keep her Scarlet Witch stuff despite my ex-wife's objections? When our kids were growing up, my wife had a lot of rules regarding what media she'd let into the house. The main thing was that she didn't want any toys or stuff of villains. Anytime our son got a Darth Vader or Joker or whatever toy for a birthday or Christmas, she'd toss it out and lecture our son before replacing it with something acceptable. This was one of the many factors that led to our divorce, and contributed to why our two children mostly live with me. They spent 1 week a month with my ex. How ironic, the woman who was so afraid of their children being influenced by villains has become a villain. Now, during our marriage, this didn't matter as much for my daughter, Sarah. People don't usually give girls Maleficent or Ursula dolls. Not even sure if they make those. But my daughter has a fixation, a big one, on Wanda from the MCU. She's never out saying it, but I'm pretty sure Avengers 2 was how my daughter realized she liked girls. Regardless, Sarah is 17 now and still has a massive Wanda collection. Every toy, piece of art, mug, you name it, she's got it. Which has never been a problem. Until now. Because my ex finally saw Multiverse of Madness, and she knows Wanda is a villain now. And my daughter's social media means she knows that I haven't done a thing about her room. My ex exploded. Phone calls, texts, emails, trying to sick her friends and family on me. Genuinely, I think she took me saying I wanted a divorce better than she's taking my letting Sarah keep her collection. Normally, I'd let it wash over me, but this is clearly bothering her a lot. Like, a lot. And while I'd never ask Sarah to throw away or get rid of everything, I'm a little worried that letting her keep it all up could either be having a negative impact on my ex's mental health, or be setting my kids up for a bad time at her house. Now, I recognize that my ex is unreasonable, but am I being the a-hole for just ignoring her? Now, he does think he could be the a-hole because he has been ignoring his ex-wife's reaction. He's been thinking it's a bit silly and he wouldn't care to do that. But he also acknowledges by not caring about how she feels, he might be affecting her mental health and also the safety and comfort the kids have going to her place. Sir, it's touching you trying to care, but her mental health is her problem. And you removing your daughter from her clear love of her current life is not going to fix all the issues your ex clearly has. Best comment right here. Nata, y'all are lucky you don't live in the MCU, because your ex's no villains policy sounds like the start of Sarah's villain origin story in and of itself. As it is, whatever this is triggering for her is something she needs to work out in therapy, not take out on Sarah. Like, okay, yeah, look, it's good that you're looking out for other people's mental health. It's very nice, very welcoming. But just like anything to do with someone's personal livelihood, you giving them a helping hand is incredibly a privilege. You deserve no shame or guilt for revoking said privilege. It's also not your responsibility. You're welcome to be generous like that by giving your time to help them out, but again, not your responsibility ultimately. There's no controversial thoughts on this story, none other than the ex here. Again, so funny that this person who's so afraid of their children being exposed to villains is literally the villain in their life story. Now, as we all know, it's the law of the land that if you suddenly get a message from an old friend you haven't seen in a while, and they are the opposite sex to you, they're reaching out not because you used to be friends, but because they clearly want to bang. They want to bang you. That's gotta be the reason, right? No? Well, then I guess this a-hole is just incredibly delusional. Am I the a-hole for referring to my old friend's kid as baggage and saying it is the reason I don't want to reconnect? I've been getting schmidt from the girlfriends of my friends for this, and I truly feel like I'm not being an a-hole here. But I needed to post here just to make sure, I guess. Okay, so growing up, I'm a 26-year-old male, I was really close with a girl named Beth. Beth and me were really good friends growing up and in high school. My friends always knew I had a crush on her, and her friends knew this too. So did Beth, I think. But she was nice about it, and we remained good friends after graduation. We went to the same college and were very tight our first few years. Around junior year, she started dating someone, and our friendship just fizzled. She got pregnant and moved in with the guy. I've seen her only twice since, and we said hello, but she was always with her dude and kid, so I kinda just didn't really see the point, as she had pretty much shown our friendship wasn't that lasting. Yeah, man, how dare she stop putting effort into this relationship you two have when you stopped putting effort into the relationship? Recently, she has started hanging out with our group again. I found out that her and her man split up and she was coming out more because they had split custody. Well, the first night she was out, we caught up all night. We just talked about mutual friends and how our lives were going. She brought up getting dinner to catch up. I told her while it was nice to have her back in the group, I didn't really see the point to getting dinner. She asked why. I said with her baggage, it seemed like a waste of time. Well, Beth went back and told all her friends I said this. So me, my 2 buddies, and their girlfriends were watching the games this weekend. One of them asked why I didn't want to go get dinner with Beth, given that I had such a crush on her for a decade. I said because she had baggage now, and didn't speak to me for years. So obviously she wants something from me, and I'm not interested in a mom at this point in my life. But maybe a few years go by and we can grab dinner. The girlfriends started harping on my term baggage, demanding that I explain myself. I said her kid was baggage, and that alone made me not interested in catching up, because it wouldn't lead anywhere and honestly felt like a waste of time. They called me an a-hole and have been talking schmidt about me to my friends for days. They are demanding I apologize to Beth. But I said nothing wrong and feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick here. Am I the a-hole? So here's where I can agree to things. And I hope you can too, or if you have other sides of it all, feel free to let me know. But matey OP, buddy, you have every right to say no to dinner with this girl. I know this is something that mostly girls get taught, but guys too. No is a full sentence. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to not give any reason. Especially when those reasons clearly are going to hurt someone's feelings or make you come across as an a-hole. I mean, I don't know. Part of me feels like she kind of brought this on herself by asking your reasons as to why you weren't keen. But the fact you refer to this whole situation as baggage, yeah, that is where I have to agree you're being an a-hole. I feel like you've just jumped onto a lazy red pill terminology without actually diving into it yourself as to what that means for you and to you. Because they argue, oh, maybe in a few years go by they can grab dinner. Mate, a few years, she's still gonna have the kid. He's still gonna be a responsibility in her life. You clearly have this backwards mindset that once the kid is no longer as young as it is, she's suddenly gonna be as frivolous and horny as she was before she had a child. And look, yeah, maybe she will, but she's still gonna have the responsibility of being a parent. And you've also made the mistake, as many guys can, that she actually expects or even wants you to be a father figure in this relationship. Dude, she's fresh out of a new relationship. Maybe she just wanted an easy bang. You were keen on her after all for a long time, over a decade allegedly. I say this a lot, but gents, not every girl that's after you is after you because they think you are the epitome of attraction. Sometimes they just want a quick fix, and they know you're easy. There's a very popular comment here, but I want to review the more controversial ones. Let's see if they're going anywhere interesting. One saying, Nita, so many hypocrites in this thread. Her kid is a baggage if you were seeking her romantically. That is just the truth. If the roles were reversed, you would hear, oh, watch out for the baby mama, deadbeat dad with kids, etc., etc. But no, praise for the single mother. Don't get me wrong, single mothers are warriors, but sadly, not romantically appealing. Now some would argue, well, who said anything about dating? She wanted to go to dinner to catch up with an old friend, which equals to the reply that I'm sure we could all equally say, well, way too many assumptions are being made here. OP and Beth literally spent all night catching up, and then she wants to get dinner to catch up even more? I mean, who said anything about dating? No one. However, who said anything about not dating? Oh, it was OP, being upfront and honest in the dumbest foot-in-mouth way possible. Look, the dating world is brutal. People will ghost you for having green text messages. So yeah, kids are baggage in this case. Some even praise the OP for being so upfront and honest about it, which lends itself the question, would you rather someone be brutally honest in their rejection towards you, or just do that case of saying no, not having to explain themselves any further, because, you don't have to if you don't want to, and politely telling you to buzz off. But okay, most popular point is this. 1. First of all, she wasn't talking about a date, she wanted to catch up. You are assuming that you are such a catch that she's automatically romantically interested in you is arrogant as frick. 2. You just admitted to your whole circle of friends that you aren't willing to have a friendship if there's nothing in it for you. 3. You are acting as if her worth as a person has been diminished now that she has a kid. 4. You were dehumanizing her kid by calling them baggage. Look, I don't know if this is some sort of defense mechanism because you are still upset that she was dating someone else, or if you are watching too many incel podcasts. Probably both. You are lacking basic freaking respect. Get a grip. Yata. And this is why I made my points earlier, where I think end of the day, look, OP does have his preferences. He's allowed to have those preferences. To say so otherwise is pushing both of them to be in a situation where she's gonna end up feeling like this isn't genuine and that she's just being used and made advantage of, and he's gonna feel disingenuine the entire time. Like, there's no win here. So what do you think then? Completely yatar? Maybe no a-holes here? Let me know. On to this next story where, look, just read the title and then let's read that first sentence. Am I the a-hole for not giving my estranged sister a place to stay with her kids while she was on her way to our parents? Sounds a bit odd, right? Why would you not simply offer some resting place? Do you have some bad history together of some sibling rivalry? What? I have been estranged from my sister ever since she carried out an affair with my ex-fiancé. I found out because my brother caught the two of them together. She tried to get my blessing for them to be together. I told her to consider herself down one sister, and I told her I never wanted to see her again. I stuck to my word. She married my ex, had kids with him, and has stuck by him through his destroying their finances. 3 weeks ago, he was arrested, and my sister found out the guy who was letting her and the kids stay was no longer okay. And so she called family members. My aunt told her that my parents were out of town and she should go to their house. My parents were on vacation. My sister lives 3 states from our parents, and apparently I'm right in the middle. She called our aunt to say she couldn't find a place she could afford overnight, so aunt gave her my address and told her to stay with me. She showed up. I shut the door. She called aunt. Aunt called me, told me the story. I refused to let them stay. Aunt said it was just for one night. I stuck to my word. I don't know about you, but it honestly sounds like your sister did you a favor by just separating you from this guy. Aunt ended up paying for a place for them to stay. By the time my parents got home, sister was there. Nobody had told them. Then me saying no turned into the debate of the whole family. My siblings, the ones I still talk to, all said that I should never have been a place she would even dare show up at. One of them also refused to let her stay overnight, so they were not afraid to stand up for me. My parents say they understand. They just hated that my sister's kids were upset at not having anywhere to go at night and that the place they ended up at was scary. They told me they understood. They just wished I could have found some way to love her kids and give them a place to sleep at least. But they also know I never met them, and we're strangers to each other, and them to my husband and kids. Other members of the family are not seeing it that way, and I have been told I should be ashamed of myself, that I am hateful, and that they hope I need to beg for her for something one day, and she leaves me in the dust too, and my kids. According to my siblings, she has been saying how angry she is that I didn't give her kids a place to stay, and she apparently called me a heartless bitch. So am I the a-hole? I know we'll have the tendency to agree that, yeah, it's kind of scummy to not let some kids that are really truly part of your family have a place to sleep. But also, these are the culmination of your sister and ex-fiance betraying you. This isn't just throwing the blue shell at you on Mario Kart. This is something serious. Like killing your friend in Fortnite to get the victory royale. Some people agree with my point that, yeah, while she betrayed you, it sounds like she did you a favor. It could have been you with finances destroyed, having to go find a place to stay with kids fathered by the cheater who wound up locked up. But what are your thoughts about this side of the fence from Cold Feet Under Butt? Reddit, what are your usernames? So, Yatar, I am obviously in minority thinking that, but I think that cheating is not as bad as leaving children on the street. Yes, they were not on the street eventually, but I think you could not be sure at that moment, and you didn't take them home. Cheating sister weaponizing her children does not change the fact that children had to leave a lot of bad stuff, and you did not help when you could. You were not fully responsible, obviously, their parents are, but life happens. Dragging those children behind her back while looking for a house to stay, making them stay at a scary motel, I think the cheating parents are making those children really live some kind of trauma. Also, there has been many years since the cheating. You have got married and had your own kids. Hating someone for so long and so much to not accept them for one night while they are homeless, no matter how much you say that she's not your sister anymore and you're estranged, you still are sisters. You have the same family and a past. She was not a stranger at your door asking to stay. She was your cheater sister. And her kids, I think you could at least take the kids for the night, even if you didn't have to. Now that thought was met with other opposing thoughts, falling into that whole back and forth of, well, if you care so much, then you do it. Top comment being the most witty. Oh no, your sister, who is such a stand-up person that she slept with your fiance, thinks you are a bad person. Oh, why care? There's even a growing cult against the auntie in general. And it's fair. I mean, she was the one who technically caused all this to happen. I strongly suspect that Auntie was trying to arrange a forced reconciliation between the sisters. Yes, this always freaking happens. Some relative always tries to fix all the problems in a family. Like as if problems disappear in a night. But overall, that's the story. What do you think? Do you have any family members you have a bad rap with? If their siblings or own offspring came to you for help, would you give them the time of day? Could she have maybe just told the sister to get her own place, but let the kids sleep on the couch? Either way, I think it's best that the kids were left to be in the outro of this video. Yeah, that was a terrible segue, actually. Let me do that again. Well, that's the end of the video, folks. Thank you, as always, for watching. It's a pleasure having you around for these rambles. In case it isn't obvious yet, my camera's broken, so I can't film right now. I'm having to resort to these alternate methods. Some of you might hate it, some of you might love it. Either way, that's how it's going to be for just a little bit. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Please support me in all the links in the description down below, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.